Renee Galarza says Disney hire these people because they're cheaper. They don't care much about the message. That probably has some like validity to it. But the fact of the matter is, when they like hire a good director and a good writing team to make a good film, therefore make more money, therefore a director costing, $20 million, $30 million wouldn't really be a big deal, I guess.
Yeah, it depends on whether they take the upfront payment or the back end deal, right? That's what I would love to get back to. If you watched, did either of you see the Five Nights at Freddy's movie?
No, I heard it was awesome. I heard it was solid for like if you like the stuff, you'd like it.
It was a very video game movie.
I didn't think much of it. It wasn't for me, but a lot of people did like it, and it made a lot of money. And the director of that movie had a smaller upfront payment and made more on the back end because she took a bet on herself and decided to say, look, if I make a good movie, I stand to make way more money if I do that. And that's really what we should be getting back to anyways. That's why streaming is such a problem, because they make all the episodes right away. And there's no money to be made after the fact. So they get their upfront payment and there's no reason to make something good.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and look at that. Surprise, surprise. That was a female director, I'm assuming. Yep, and it sounds like she made a great movie that everybody liked and no one complained. Crazy how that works.
Yep.
Real quick, this is my alt channel, and my main channel is in danger every day of getting banned as a result of talking with these amazing people very candidly. So please do me a favor and subscribe down below. Helps me out a lot. Get the hell on it, doggone it.
One of my favorite movies of all time is a female director, American Psycho.
Oh shit, yeah.
Great movie.
Look, and there have been female directors that have populated television for decades, and I almost feel bad for them because they toiled away and got through on merit and worked their ass off. Now, granted, and people will always say this, like they're different mediums. Directing television is not the same thing as directing a big budget motion picture. I understand that, but they worked very hard to get where they were, and oftentimes probably to their detriment back in the day. And now you have this whole new generation of actors and directors who not only want to rewrite history and pretend like there wasn't any progress when there was. Think of Jennifer Lawrence saying she was the first real action
I was about to say that. I was really about to say that,
yeah. They're all, everyone's desperate to be the first of something. Right. So think about all these people that worked hard back in the day. I mean, Patty Jenkins did a lot of work before she did Wonder Woman, before she developed the clout she did. Granted, giving her full creative control over Wonder Woman 1984 doesn't exactly speak well for her, but she has way more credibility than the people they hire from Marvel that just have nothing behind their name.
Yeah. One writing credit for a short like 10 years ago. And I'm like, how did this person even be getting through the conversation? Like, how did like what they were, and there was an executive boardroom and they're like, this name comes up out of nowhere. It's like, oh, you remember that one lady that did a short in 2014? We should put her in charge of this $300 million movie. I'm like, what the fuck?
Crazy.
How did that even come to fruition? Like, it's so strange.
Just sad. Like, it's, and I feel bad. Like, I'll be completely honest. I'm not, and people who watch our show understand this. Like, I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. So what I always say is, I feel bad for you guys. Yeah. I feel bad for Star Wars fans. I feel bad for the diehard comic fans who have to watch these properties that they grew up loving get through this golden period where then they got a lot of stuff to be excited about for a long time. And now they're just being beaten down mercilessly by this industry day after day.
Well, here's the thing with Star Wars, that I grew up on Star Wars, but here's the real reality of Star Wars. There were 3 good movies. I liked Rogue One. I liked Rogue One a lot. Yeah. I watched it in theaters a couple of times. A lot of people didn't necessarily like it, but I thought it was good. I really liked the first.
Too, yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Rogue One is the only one of the new trilogy that anyone gives any credit, right?
Exactly. It's the one that everybody brings up, but still some people don't like it. Mandalorian had a couple of really good seasons, and I actually quite liked Andor, but a lot of people didn't like it. That's it. And those are just mediocre. Like, really, Star Wars is 3 fucking movies. The prequels are god awful, even though I did watch those in the theater when I was a kid, like growing up. And then everything that they made recently is fucking horrendous. So like, there really hasn't been anything good from Star Wars since the original trilogy came out. And I don't know why they keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it and pushing it, because it's just getting to a point where it's burning people out on something that's not even good.
Too much content too. That's another problem with a lot of this stuff is it doesn't feel special anymore when these things come out. It used to have a certain amount of gravitas when it did, and you just don't see that anymore. As somebody like I remember having to watch Solo and just being like feeling bad while laughing at how much it was probably hurting all of the people who love these franchises, right?
Painful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, no. And then what was the show with fucking, oh God, Jesus Christ, what was it? Kenobi?
Oh God, I forgot. I always forget
I
about
didn't
that.
even finish it. It was one of the worst pieces of shit I've ever
Oh
seen.
yes,
in my
okay,
entire
that's
life.
yes, Kenobi. We
Kenobi.
watched
Oh,
we reviewed Kenobi, and all you could think the whole time is that it doesn't have any fluidity to the story whatsoever, right? The Reva character is god awful, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Yeah,
Horrible.
it was so strange. Speaking of the Reva character, I feel like she was the worst part of it by a mile.
She
There
was.
were some scenes that were all right, but like when she would try to get like intimidating and aggressive, it looked like some kind of high school play. Like
I would not be able to stop giggling if she was trying to shit talk me. I'd be like, this like,
was
it's
so
silly.
strange.
And this goes to the problem, right? Like the reason, and I always say the reason Barbie made $1 billion is because it's a movie for women, but like that women made and had a strong interest in. It taps into things women like, things women find interesting, not just the feminism of it, but women like clothes, okay? And women like these types of things. So there is this untapped market that they're not willing to go for because they're not creative enough. And two, a lot of it is they want to culturally subvert and put women into these roles that men used to dominate. And I used to think that was one of those things where back in the day, the idea of subverting expectations was at least a little bit understandable, right? You a couple of times a year, you put out a movie where it breaks from the mold, and it's kind of like watching a movie like The Sixth Sense for the first time. After you see it, it's not really nearly as interesting as it was before. But now I can't think of it being anything other than cultural subversion. That's what I think of when I think of them casting, and I do really think of it as casting. They cast a director for this movie to do Star Wars. It's really just a way to put its boot on the neck of the people who love it and say, we're in charge. You're not going to get what you want. And you either give in and submit, or you just stop caring altogether. And I don't blame the people who have just stopped caring altogether.
I stopped going to see. I stopped going to see most movies. I didn't see the Marvels in theaters. It's just you get tired of being let down, and I'm not spending money on that.
Yep.
My favorite movie this year was a movie called Gran Turismo.
Everybody was talking about.
It was the true life story about the first winner of the actual Gran Turismo competition. That's a real thing, which was really interesting. My second favorite movie of this year was The Creator from Gareth Edwards, who did Rogue One, which was
I actually enjoyed The Creator.
Yes, I know, I got a lot of pushback on that one. A lot of people didn't like that movie. Thematically, they thought it was communists. They thought it was communist leaning and a lot of problems with it. But if you can make that movie for $80 million, if Gareth Edwards can make that movie for $80 million, why can't you give him a Rey Solo movie with $300 million? Why can't you? He already proved that he's the one who made the one sequel trilogy movie that anybody liked in Rogue One. Why not give him the money? Why not get him the movie? Makes way more sense.
Well, it's because they don't really want a good movie. They want a movie that they can use marketing tactics to just shame people down. I still think it's just that it's foreign banks giving unbelievable amounts of money to movie studios to destabilize the West. Like
I literally was just having this conversation.
It's the old Soviet Union playbook from like a long time ago.
Yes.
It's
fucking
China?
working. No, from Russia.
But you think this time around, you think it's from Russia?
I think it's from Russia. I think they started it in Russia. Maybe China fucking joined them. But like years ago, this has been a plan that's in place for decades at this point, and it's been slowly rotting us from the inside.
China has a way bigger financial impact on America. Like right now, there's a lot of Chinese investment in Hollywood. Did you guys ever see the really bad movie from Roland Emmerich? What was it? Moonfall? It's like the worst movie.
Loved it.
It's so good. It's so bad. It's good.
When the moon comes so close
bad.
to them. Love it.
the moon is a bad guy, right?
Yeah.
It's hilarious. We laughed the whole. I think our review was like 50 minutes long because we couldn't stop laughing. And the point is that movie was heavily financed by China, so there's a lot of investment, foreign investment from these studios. Look at the like Tencent Productions and things like that. And in that film, he has the random like the nanny just randomly speaks Mandarin, and they never really explain why. Studio note from the people that gave you the money to make your awful movie.
Yeah, I love that part where the moon like gets really close and the gravity starts pulling people. I thought it was so stupid.
It's so stupid.
Dude, there's one part where they're like trying to escape on a car and the ground is exploding and they're just ramping from random pieces of like landmass and just keep going. I was laughing so hard.
Finish that movie. I think I watched maybe almost half of it, and I was like, I can't do it, man. I can't watch any more of this.
See, those are the movies I love. Like, if you make a movie that's so bad it's good, I'm on board all day.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even hate The Flash this year. I was like, does this movie make a whole lot of sense? Why is Batman there? I didn't even hate it. I was like, look, is Ezra Miller a good person? No, Ezra Miller's a bad person. But I didn't hate the movie. I liked it more than I liked the Marvels.
That, you know what's really funny? I actually enjoyed The Flash more than I feel like there was no reason for me to. I don't know why I enjoyed it so much. I left the theater being like, that wasn't a good movie, but I had a good time. It was one of those.
It was because I actually do believe, sad to say, that he did a really good job of connecting with his mom, with the character, with his mom in that movie. So there's at least a certain amount of emotional resonance that comes from him in the journey he has to go on, even if the middle of it is kind of a mess. Right? He nails the scenes. There's this scene at the end at the grocery store that explains the time shift and everything like that. Like he hits the mark he needs to when he does, and that's about the best he can do for something like that. But that movie costs so much money to make, it doesn't matter. It costs like $350 million to make.